Hi everybody. So, as you all know, um, I really haven't been making many videos, and to be honest, I just haven't really felt like making videos. Um, but I'm still going to do YouTube. I'm still going to make videos, and I really want to get back into doing it more and more. But really, this past year has been kind of tough. Dealing with my stomach issues and everything that transpired after having my wisdom tooth pulled and the antibiotics, and all of that really took a toll on me, psychologically, physically, and everything. And, but the good news is that I'm doing a lot better now. And, I'm following a specific Sebo diet. For those of you who do not know what Sebo is, it is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And it's basically when there's more bacteria in your small intestine than there should be. It overgrows. And this usually can occur when you take antibiotics and you basically are wiping out all of the good bacteria. And, it screws everything up in your intestines, pretty much, to put it in a nutshell. So the Sebo-specific diet is pretty much a combination of the specific carbohydrate diet, or SCD, / FODMAP diet. So it's low in fermentable carbohydrates that feed the bacteria in your small intestine, because what you want to do to help overcome Sebo is to starve the bacteria. And you do that by following, a specific carbohydrate diet or FODMAP diet. And one of the big things about the specific carbohydrate diet and the Sebo diet is avoiding grains. So, I was avoiding gluten, but now I'm avoiding all grains. I haven't eaten any grains. And to be honest with you, I feel a lot better. I feel like, a lot of my aching is going away. My stomach feels a lot more calm. I'm also taking oregano oil and coconut oil combination to help kill some of the bacteria, because I really don't want to use another antibiotic to, destroy the bacterial overgrowth. That's really a last resort, and I'm trying to do things through herbs and diet. And I feel like I'm having good success. For pretty much the past year, I've had fatigue, depression, cramps, bloating, like nonstop. Just haven't felt myself. I've always been super healthy, as you know, on my YouTube channel, and even eating lots of fruits and things like that, would give me a lot of symptoms. So, I've really lowered even a lot of my fruit content down. I still eat it though, not as much, and I'm more particular about the types of fruits that I eat. Like the FODMAP diet, I have to avoid certain fruits like apples, because they have certain sugars in them that feed the bacteria and give me worsening symptoms. So as long as I avoid these certain fruits, I'm okay. I can have, banana, pineapple, grapes, strawberries, blueberries. Some of the fruits, when I do eat them, I have to eat them in a small amount, not a lot. Because the whole thing is, I have to, keep the bacteria from feeding off of the sugars and things, the carbohydrates. So I've pretty much been, eating chicken and eggs and vegetables and fruits. And I have peanut butter, natural peanut butter. That's pretty much what I've been living on, and I feel really good. I feel like, my blood sugar is more stable. And I've noticed that a lot of my achiness. I've had achiness in my legs, like joint pain, which can be triggered from Sebo, and gluten can get into the bloodstream, the gluten molecules, and can lodge in there and start causing inflammation. So I believe that since I've been avoiding gluten and all the grains, which can cause a lot of inflammation, it's really helping my body to be able to recover and to help myself heal. So I'm going to stick with this. It's essentially a Paleolithic type diet, where you're pretty much living off of, meats, eggs, fish, fruits, veggies, nuts, seeds, with, and avoiding the grains and things like that. It's not something that, I probably am going to have to avoid for the rest of my life, other foods and stuff. I'll probably be able to eat, a healthy grain, in the future when I become, healthier and get over the condition that I'm, that I have. But that's basically what I'm doing, and sometimes it's hard to eat this way because you grow up eating grains your whole life, and when you suddenly stop eating them, you do have kind of withdrawals. And I guess it just kind of goes to show you that we rely on grains, I think, way too much. And the grains today are really high in gluten, really high in starch, and they're completely, in many ways, different than what our ancestors were eating as grains. And some people may tolerate them, but I think for the large majority of people, and through the research and things that I've looked at, many people do not. And let's be honest with ourselves, who finds it easy to avoid, nice whole grain bread, or, a hamburger, or, any of these things, that are so delicious and they taste so good, but yet they're so really unhealthy for us. And that's really the truth. So I guess with that, I would tell you guys that if you have any stomach problems, that I have had, maybe you should get a hydrogen breath test done to see if you have Sebo, because, a lot of people suffer for years and years and don't know what's causing it when it's this intestinal overgrowth. But as the days go by, and my symptoms and everything get better and better, I may explain more and more of, how I've overcome this and stuff. But, the thing that really makes me happy the most is knowing discovering what was wrong with me when I got that test. Finding out that I have a gluten sensitivity gene, which was positive in my blood test results. So that's very encouraging, because now with that information, I can overcome this thing, and, I can become really healthier than I was before when, I first started YouTube and I started making, healthy videos. So this has really been a journey for me and a life lesson. And with that, I just thank all of you guys for subscribing, and continuing to watch my videos, and I thank you for the support. I thank, for everybody that's stuck by me, right up to this point. And I know, a lot of you probably been wanting to know when my next video is, and I'm going to try, I'm going to really try to make more videos and do what I can. And, I also wanted to say, too, sorry about this lighting. It seems like it's all messed up today or whatever, but I wanted to say that I was really kind of saddened about the Supreme Court ruling, the legalization of same-sex marriage in all 50 states. I think that what those judges did was, really destructive for this country. And I feel sad that a lot of Christians are going to be targeted and persecuted. And I don't think that's fair. I believe marriage is between one man, one woman. And that's the way that God instituted it. That's how things are. That's the natural order of things. That's common sense. And that's what creates a healthy, stable society, is when you have, a family unit. But, times, I guess, are getting more wicked and unlawful, and it's everywhere in the media, in the games, in the movies. I play video games, I watch movies, and I see it. It's been, they've been putting this stuff in there for years, and it affects the way people think about things. And the bottom line is, you either believe God's word or man's word. And, we can just look throughout history and see what happens when a society, decides that they want to go their own way, go against God's way. A lot of bad things happen. Diseases, chaos, persecution. But I also believe that, sometimes before things get better, things have to get really worse. And, just because the Supreme Court ruled something legal and constitutional does not mean that it makes it moral. The highest judge of the universe and everything is God. And he says that homosexuality is wrong. So, if the Supreme Court judges decided that, homosexual rape, was legal, or that murder was legal, that doesn't make it right. So just because Supreme Court rules something, says, okay, this is the law, that doesn't make that law moral. And that's just something to think about. Because, I forget when it was, Dredcott decision, or I don't think I'm pronouncing it right, but a long time ago, Supreme Court said that, basically blacks, were supposed to be slaves, and that, they were, they couldn't have the same rights that we had or whatever, But obviously that was a bad decision by the Supreme Court. So there's been times in the past when the Supreme Court has made bad decisions and made bad laws. And look at the Roe versus Wade that the Supreme Court ruled. Abortion is murder. And that's another example of the Supreme Court going, in the wrong direction and making something lawful, but that is very immoral and wrong. They basically legalized murder in the Roe versus Wade. And so, but the good news is that you don't despair, you don't give up, you continue to fight for the truth, you defend the truth, and you speak the truth in love, You love the homosexuals, but you don't recognize what they're doing as right. You look at it as a sin, because that's what it is. It's actually sin. And it's these people God giving them over to their sinful desires. So, we just have to be friendly. We have to show love, not get angry or show hatred, but we're supposed to love our enemies. And, that's what I always try to do. And, it's my belief, my conviction that it is wrong, and my standard is God. And, if people don't like that, I guess they're going to put me to death, right? Or they're going to put me in jail or whatever. I'm not out to cause or make any trouble with anyone. But I mean, it's like, I think Star Wars is the best movie ever. And maybe somebody thinks Jurassic Park's the best movie ever. So are they going to feel like threatened? Are they going to call me a hater because I like Star Wars more than their movie? Where is tolerance? Where is the fairness? And it's just, it's really sad what's happening in this country. Because in the media is not going to report really these Christians getting persecuted because it's so left and so liberal, that they're going to hide and cover a lot of these stories. So you're not really going to hear about it. But it happens. I mean, I get persecuted all the time, so I'm sure there's other people get persecuted, and there'll be people persecuted in the church, and mostly it will be the pastors, because the true Christian pastors will refuse to marry two gay men or women or whatever, and they're going to be the ones that are mostly attacked, I think. But you just have to continue to pray that God would raise up good, godly people, and you have to stand for what is true and for what is right, and it might even come someday that you might have to lay down your life for Jesus. But guess what? Those who lose their life for His name's sake will gain their life. We shouldn't live for this world, the Bible says. We should live for God. And, we're all going to die someday anyways. Some of our deaths may be more painful than others. But at the end of the day, and at the end of our lives, what's more important? Doing what God says or what man says? I struggle with sin, and I'm not perfect, and every time that I mess up, I confess. I go to God and I tell Him, God, look, I'm sorry, I'm a sinner, I messed up, and when I think of how sinful I am, and how much I struggle with my sin, I have compassion on those who also struggle with sin. Homosexuality is a sin just like lying, like adultery, like murder, like all the other sins. And it should be recognized for what it is, and it should be confessed and repented of. And we need to pray for each other, and we need to show each other love. And with that, take care. And I know I kind of went off on a tangent here, but this is something I wanted to share. And I guess that ends this video.